Hi, I'm Caroline. Thanks for joining me this morning for some chair yoga. So to begin with, you'll need to find a chair that you can sit on comfortably, preferably one with a hard base, so a sofa won't work. We're going to sit at the front of the chair, and that's to enable our feet to be on the floor. And even if that's quite tough, because sometimes our legs are shorter than our bodies, you can have something underneath your feet, like a couple of big books, to give you that little bit of extra height from the floor. So coming and sitting tall, feet, toes pointing forwards, and they're parallel. We've got a little bit of a gap between our feet here, and we'll roll the shoulders up, back, and down. The hands are relaxed on our thighs, and we're sitting tall. Double check you're not pushing your belly forwards. So there's length from the sitting bones all the way up through the spine to the crown of the head. And then you may wish to close your eyes. We're going to focus on our breath to begin with. If it's possible this morning, breathing in and out through our nose. And noticing the breath. Notice where you can feel it in your body. Notice whether it feels long or short. Soft. Maybe it feels a little tight this morning or restricted. So visualizing the breath reaching the belly and into the lungs and into the upper chest. Sometimes just visualizing that can help bring a little bit more space in the body for the breath. Still feeling that contact with the floor through the feet. Still having that softness in the shoulders and that length in the spine. Gently tucking your chin, opening the eyes if you had them closed, and bringing the head back up to center. We're going to stretch through our body, and these are going to be some movements you can use whether you've got restricted mobility, whether you have an injury, or actually sometimes if you're sitting at a desk and taking what I call a movement snack. So some of these might come in useful if you find you've got prolonged periods sitting at a desk or working on a laptop or computer. So we're going to work with the breath here, and we're going to raise our right arm up to begin with. So allow that right hand to feel heavy. We're going to breathe in and reach through the fingertips, and breathe out to allow it to float back down. And try to make that movement last as long as the breath. So we're waking up the shoulders here. Still sitting tall with the length in the spine. So 3 times on the right hand side, and then 3 on the left. So breathing in to raise the arm, and breathing out to lower it back down. And then we'll do both arms together. So breathing in to reach with the fingertips. The palms are facing in towards each other, and dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe reaching up a little bit more through the fingertips. And then on the next exhalation, allowing the arms to come back down by the sides of your body. Next, we're going to work with our head and our neck, very gently. And only go as far as feels comfortable for you today. So breathing in and looking over our right shoulder. On the next exhalation, coming back to center, and then we'll breathe in and breathe out to turn to look over our left shoulder. And coming back through to center. We'll take our left ear to our left shoulder. So again, allowing the muscles in the side of the neck to relax in their own time, giving them time and breathing through this. And you may find one side is tighter than the other. And in the morning, it might be that we've slept slightly strangely or in an unusual position for the neck. Sometimes if you're working at a computer or a desk, one side is going to be tighter than the other, especially if you're dominant in one hand. And then coming back to center. We're going to make a fist with our hands next. And it's a very simple stretch, but it's very gentle as well. So bringing our fist to our right hand, and we're going to take our fingers into the side of our waist here. So the knuckles are still pointing forward. So when you look at the hand, you can still see the knuckles and they're facing forwards, still sitting tall. Allow the shoulder to drop. And then gently, taking the arm or the elbow and just gently bringing it forwards. And we want to increase the resistance here. So it's almost like you're pulling your elbow forwards, but the elbow is resisting that pull. And you might find you get a little bit of a stretch at the back of the arm. Everybody feels this in slightly different places. And then gently let go of that arm. And then we'll do exactly the same on the left-hand side. So making a fist, the fingers are going into the waist. You can just about see my knuckles, they're almost facing forwards. And then I'm taking my arm or my elbow, any way you can reach, and gently giving it a little pull and gently encouraging that arm to resist, the elbow and the shoulders to resist. Unhooking the elbow and the hands there. We'll wake up the shoulders and between the shoulder blades and the thoracic spine. We're going to come into cat-cow. This is the seated version. So we're going to breathe in, looking up to the ceiling, being mindful of the neck, so not taking it back too far. Arms can be down by the sides of the body, palms facing out. And then breathing out to roll the shoulders forwards. It's almost like you're collapsing the chest. So we're trying to find that space between the shoulder blades, and the gaze can be towards the floor. So breathing in to open the chest, and breathing out to curl around and create a little bit of space between the shoulder blades. Working with the breath here. And making this your last round, so breathing in, dropping the shoulders, and breathing out, just curl around. And coming slowly back up to center. Next, we're going to start working into the legs a little bit here. So we're going to give our right knee a hug. So making sure that left foot feels stable. And you might want to bring it into the centre a little bit more so you feel you have a little bit more balance. So just working with that, you might want to move it as we come into the stretch. I'm bringing my right knee in for a hug. So we're getting into the hip flexors here a little and into the lower back, the lumbar spine. Encourage those shoulders to be soft and light away from the ears. And then we can point and flex the foot while we're here. Still trying to sit up tall. And making some circles with that ankle. I can hear mine going click this morning. And then maybe drawing the knee in a little bit tighter if you can, to increase that stretch over the hips. And then gently bringing that foot back down. We're going to go to the other side. So remember, you might want to bring the right foot in a touch to help with the balance. So hugging in the left knee, drawing the shoulders down, sitting tall. And just allowing a softness here, a lightness. So you might find you're tighter on one side. So breathing, using the breath as an anchor, just to giving the muscles, the ligaments, the connective tissue time to lengthen. And point and flex the toes. And make some circles in both directions. And then maybe bringing the knee in a little bit closer. And then gently drop that foot back down. So coming back to that same position we started in. So we've brought a little bit of warmth, hopefully, and movement into the hips. We're going to fold or reach over to one side at a time. And this is where you might want to take the grip of the chair with the opposite hand. So I'm holding my chair here with my left hand, and I'm going to reach over with my right. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, maybe reaching a little bit further. Making sure your glutes are still in contact with the chair as well. And the feet are very much grounded. So we're looking for a little bit of a stretch or finding some length along the side of the body. Gently coming back to centre and going over to the side. So again, finding that reaching down through the feet, maybe holding the side of the chair with the right hand and reaching over with the left. And just check you haven't collapsed the chest. Sometimes there's a tendency to collapse the chest a little. It just makes it easier for the body. So we're reaching through the chest here. It's lovely and open. It's almost open up towards the sky. And it doesn't need to be far. We're just looking for a little bit of length in the side of the body. We're remembering to breathe. And coming back to centre. Want to open the chest or bring a bit more space here to the shoulders. So we're going to hold opposite elbows, but behind our back. So grasping opposite elbows, it might be opposite wrists, it's whatever you can reach. Dropping the shoulders down and sitting tall. If you're able to, you could bring the hands together to Anjali Mudra behind the back, which is the prayer position. And breathing here. And just check the lumbar spine isn't overly curved here, the belly's not pushing forwards, we're still sitting tall. And breathing into the lungs of the ribcage. We've got a little bit more space now here. So allowing the lungs to expand outwards towards the front of the body and the back. And then just releasing the hands, the arms, wherever you had them. We're going to go into a bit more of a hip stretch now, so coming back down towards the lower part of the body. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. So the outside of my right ankle is resting on the top of my left thigh. So I've come into a cross-leg position. If this is too much, you can rest it on the floor. So just being mindful of the knees. And this is really going to get into the hips here. If this is enough for you, sitting here, working with the breath, maybe you feel you want a little bit more. So you can take your hands to the inner thigh and inner calf and gently push the leg away from you towards the floor. Just be mindful, we don't want to push on the knee here. The knees are really very sacred joint, so we want to keep that safe. So just gently pushing away and making sure the foot is flexed. The foot is active. And gently bringing that foot back down. Placing that right foot, making sure you've got that contact with the floor, or if you had some books to raise the legs up a little, make sure you've got that contact back again. And then we're going to bring the outside of our left foot onto the thigh of our right. So again, notice that there's a huge difference between the two sides. We want the foot to be flexed. And maybe this is enough for you here. Remember, you can gently bring the leg onto the floor, and that might feel like enough for you. If you are here and you want a little bit more, taking the hands to the inner thigh and the inner calf and gently pushing away towards the floor. Remembering to sit tall, and if there is tightness and you have muscles moaning at you, remembering to breathe, using the breath as that anchor. So we know we've gone too far in yoga if the breath becomes short or laboured. So encouraging the breath to be long and smooth. And bringing that leg back to centre. We're going to practice seated eagle now. And this is what I sometimes call contortionist pose, because we're wrapping ourselves around. So I'm going to take my right foot into the centre. It's very much on the ground. And my left leg is coming over my right. Now this again might be as far as you feel you can come, but you might also be able to tuck your right foot all the way around your left. And what we want to do is encourage the right foot to be, the right foot to be on the ground. I'm already getting mixed up with my left and my right. We're going to reach out with our fingertips, drop the shoulders down. And I've got my left leg on top here, so I'm going to put my right arm on top at the elbows and wrap them around as far as I can. So if there's a bend, you might just come with the palms, so the back of the hands together, but you might also come together with the palms. And we're raising up the elbows. So the elbows are at about shoulder height. Drop the shoulders away and sitting tall. Making sure the right foot has that contact with the floor. Directing the breath into the lungs, particularly into the back of the lungs. Gently unraveling yourself, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing on the opposite side. So bringing the left leg into the centre, making sure the foot is grounded, and bringing the right across. If you know you want to come a bit further, tucking the right round the left, and bringing the left foot back to the ground. Being mindful of knees here as well. Dropping the shoulders down, reaching through the fingertips, And I've got my right leg on top, so I want my left arm on top. And we're crossing the elbows here and wrapping around as far as we can. So once you've bent the elbows, maybe it's the back of the hands or the palms almost come together. Bringing the elbows at shoulder height and breathing. Making sure that left foot is in contact with the mat, with the floor. Sitting tall through the spine, crown of the head. Gaze is straight ahead. You may feel comfortable to close your eyes. And then gently and slowly unraveling yourself. We're going to come into a forward fold, and I'm going to turn my chair around so you can see me demonstrate. So with the forward fold, again, we want our feet to be flat on the floor or a mat, the toes are pointing forwards, and you might want to take them a little bit wider. This is to allow our bodies to come through. Rolling the shoulders back and down, we're going to reach up. So breathing in, reaching up, breathing out to fold forwards, encouraging the glutes to stay on the floor and the head to feel relaxed. So maybe give the head a nod and a shake to check the neck is relaxed. The crown of the head is reaching towards the floor. And maybe the hands do come to the floor, they can rest on the floor. If not, you can take opposite elbows like we normally would with Uttanasana if we were standing. So it's a very different pose when we're seated in a chair. You may well feel it around the pelvis, the inner thighs and the hips a bit more. Remembering to breathe, the belly is still restricted in this forward fold, so we're breathing into the lungs and into the upper chest. On the next inhalation, gently coming up slowly back up to our seated position. I'm going to turn my chair back round. Sitting tall, making sure the feet are grounded again, toes are pointing forwards, and then parallel. Knees are over the ankles. We're going to breathe in, reach out, and breathe out to give ourselves a hug. We'll do that 3 more times, taking a different arm on top each time, reaching back a little bit further with the arms if you can, creating a bit of a stretch across the pectoral muscles, getting into trapezius as well. And then bringing the hands back down to our thighs. So you can have the hands and the thighs, the hands resting on the belly. You might find you want the palms up or down. So just finding a comfortable position for your hands. Sitting tall and maybe closing the eyes if that feels okay today. Tucking the chin, maybe just a couple of centimeters to allow a little bit more length through the back of the neck. And bringing our attention back to the breath, using that as our anchor. And noticing if the breath has changed. Is the breath reaching different parts of the body? Is it travelling a little further? Does it feel any longer? Softer? Lighter? Have you created a little bit more space for the breath? Bringing the hands together at heart center. in Anjali Mudra. Joining both halves of our bodies together through our hands. Maybe you notice that warmth, that energy, prana we've created through a simple chair sequence. I'm going to bring my hands up to my forehead to remind us to have kind thoughts, to my lips to remind us to have kind words, and back down to my heart center to remind us to have kind actions. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for some chair yoga today. If you enjoyed the class, please do tick the thumbs up button, or as well as clicking on the little blue crow on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. That'll click to subscribe and it will let you know when other classes are added to the channel, but also other live classes. And if you want to find out a little bit more about me, my website is theyogacrow.com. Thanks so much for joining in today, and I hope to see you again soon.